Good evening, everyone. The public hearing of the County Council will now come to order. As chairman, and behalf of my council colleagues, I want to welcome everyone attending tonight. We're going to start with the pledge and move into the hearing. And Councilman Young will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've blown that chance now. Okay, so I wanted to kick off. I see we have retired Mayor Jack Young in some royalty in the house tonight. We are holding this public hearing pursuant to the provisions of Section 207C of the Baltimore County Charter to hear public comment on the recommendation of the Councilmanic Redistricting Commission. Most importantly, we want to hear what our constituents have to say about redistricting in their communities. This is an historic time in Baltimore County. For the first time, we are looking at a redistricting plan that will include 9 council districts. It is a difficult and complex undertaking, and our time for completing this task is short. So we welcome everyone's comments. We will now read the rules of procedure for tonight's public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak should have registered online using the speaker registration form on the County Council's virtual sessions and hearings webpage prior to this hearing. Each registered speaker will be permitted up to 3 minutes to speak. Once your time is expired, you will be asked to conclude your remarks. And the one thing I'd have to say tonight, we have a lot of speakers. We try to give you levity if you run over 3 minutes, but we really have to stick close to this, so we're not going to have any 6-minute speeches tonight. So if your speech is long, try to tighten it up as you're listening. We truly appreciate everyone's interest in the redistricting process and the desire to address this council. But we also want to ensure that each person that signed up to testify has equal opportunity to be heard, and that's why we need to keep with the time limit. In fairness to all of our speakers, we must require each speaker to comply with that 3-minute time limit. Before we begin, do any of my colleagues wish to make any remarks? I think Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank everyone for being here this evening and everyone that's put a lot of energy into this process. We've come a long, long way, and everyone that's in this room has had a part in the journey and where we're going to go from here at the end of the day. One way or another, we're going to have more opportunity for elected office in Baltimore County. We're going to move off of the year 1956, where we had 7 council members for the first time in the history of Baltimore County. So everyone in this room, if you look around the room, you look at warriors for this county, people that have been part of this process, part of this journey. And so I just want to thank everyone who in one way or another is going to help shape Baltimore County's future in terms of how we are represented, how we're representative of the communities that we serve. Thank you so much, everyone. And thanks to my colleagues. I want to say that my colleagues have not only been thoughtful in this process, but they've also been nimble in this process. And so just want to thank my colleagues, and thanks to everyone who's put so much, and I just think people put so much energy into this and so much thought. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Patoka. One thing I would add as well, we put a commission together, a redistricting commission. I think that they not only did they work very hard, but I think it was a task that that they, while they were ready for it, I don't know that they expected the, how tough this whole process was going to be. And, but we really appreciate all the work they did. And I think they did a great job of looking at a lot of different aspects of the map, of where voters are, trying to keep communities together. And we appreciate on the council everything they did. And it was a typical, I was saying this earlier, it was a typical Baltimore County committee in that while we all come from different walks of life in this county, often when we have boards together, it's fun to watch Baltimore County citizens interact. Like I said, even if they don't agree, they're always respectful of each other. And I think they all try really hard to come to a common goal. And we saw that with our redistricting commission. Councilman Jones?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to also just thank the commission for their hard work and dedication. And I want to thank every person here for your participation. Your participation in this process and others are vitally important. I say it all the time, this is what democracy looks like. So we really appreciate your participation. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to break the news. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but everybody in this room is not going to get what they want. But what's important is that you participate in the process and make your voice heard. And that's all any of us can ask for in these days and times. So we're going to be listening, we're going to be taking notes, and we're going to do our very best to get it right. And please don't let this be the last time you're participating on this subject and others. Feel free to reach out to each and every one of us, and we'll be more than happy to listen and do what we can. Thank you so much for coming here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Catch.
thank you very much. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart all of the members of the commission. I know how hard you worked, and I'm sure when you were appointed, you knew that this was not going to be an easy job. I especially want to thank my appointment to the board, Eric Rockel, who became the chairman. And no doubt that was a difficult, challenging job. So I want to thank everyone, and also want to thank the chairman of the council for designating me as the designated survivor. So you're supposed to laugh at that. So anyhow, but so I look forward to the hearing tonight and hearing from everyone that's coming to testify. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just very quickly, I just want to echo the comments of my colleagues, but there's an individual here tonight, the 7th District's appointee to the commission, Mr. Ed Kramer. Ed, thank you so much, sir, for stepping up once again. By all reports, your work on the commission was as professional and level-headed as I expected it would be when I considered your appointment. So I know it was a long process, and you know, you and your colleagues on the commission were certainly kind of put through it, and maybe didn't foresee some of the challenges that you would face, but you all came through on time and delivered us a product that we can work with. And so I just wanted to thank you very much for taking part in this process and for your service to the citizens of Baltimore County. Thanks, Ed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Councilman Marks?
I also want to thank all the members of the commission, including the representative from the 5th District, John Delino, who's here tonight. Thank you for your service. The members of the commission are good people who labored in a very difficult process, and we appreciate all their efforts.
Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not too much new to say other than to thank the members of the commission that had worked tirelessly throughout the process that was established long before we got here through the charter to include and ensure that the public's input and voices were heard in the process of districting and redistricting this entire county, and to make sure that this council has a makeup and resembles the people that it represents. I bring that to say because it almost didn't happen when we had passed a referendum that has a map that we currently live under right now. The map on the referendum that expanded the council to 9 members still stands until this council passes a map that has been suggested to us or has been presented to us from the commission process that was set forth clearly in the charter. The consternation, the fights that have started and will continue related to what our council should look like, what these district maps should look like, are necessary and needed and not supposed to be easy. They're not supposed to be easy because it represents the future of this county. It represents the future of all residents that live here. I can't think of a better way to spend my time here on this council, however short it may be, or however long it may be, depending on the constituents that I serve now and potentially will serve in the future. But knowing that they had a role to play, and a guaranteed role to play, that was not circumvented by any other process, that the map that we create has had your input. That's the important piece. We may not agree on the final result. We may not all agree on how we're getting there. But at the end of the day, your voices will have had a role in what the shape of this district looks like, this county looks like, and what this council will look like in the future. And I appreciate all of your participation, your passion, and your continued advocacy to make sure that Baltimore County is a place that we all want to live, work, and play. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Young. That was a good tying it all together. All right, Ms. Belcastro.
Mr. Chair, before we get started, I thought to move things along a little quicker, I'm going to call the first speaker, followed by the upcoming speaker. If they're here in person, you can come up to the front and sit in one of the chairs here in the front. Okay?
And when you come up to speak, if many of you have been here before, but you're going to come up to the stand here. There's a button on the mic you need to turn on so people you may be able to speak where everyone can hear you in the chamber, but if the mic's not on, they can't hear you online. So it'll be green. You'll see it we'll make sure that you know. So.
Okay, Mr. Chair, our first speaker is J.D. Urbach, who is here in person, followed by Keith Dorsey, who is also here in person.
Trustee Urbach. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Councilman. For the record, my name is J.D. Urbach. I'm a lifelong resident of Southeast Baltimore County, and I'm here tonight in my capacity as a private citizen, although I am currently a resident of Edgemere. Grew up in Dundalk. For 15 years, my family and I did live in the Middle River neighborhood of Waterview off of Eastern Avenue near the Middle River Bridge, and I am a past president of the Waterview Homeowners Association. I'm here tonight to ask you to reject the map that has been proposed by your appointed redistricting commission. While I too thank the commissioners for the time and effort that they put into the process, the final product of their work is a flawed map that is somewhat head-scratching when it comes to the east side of Baltimore County. Like many residents of Baltimore County, I have casually observed the commission's work through press reports and occasionally looked at draft maps as they were proposed. I was eager to provide input at one community public hearing held on the east side of the county, but unfortunately it was scheduled on the very same night as the annual Dundalk Citizen of the Year dinner, thus causing a conflict for many civic-minded individuals in the Southeast. And I thank Councilman Crandall for his attendance at that wonderful event. I have read the final report and recommendations of the commission and watched the video of the commission's June meetings because, as stated, simply viewing the final map leaves one a bit befuddled as to why Essex would be sliced up among District 7, 8, and 9 the way that it is. I appreciate the dissenting opinions of Commissioners Kramer and Delina. Commissioner Delina's observation that the proposed District 9 is simply not contiguous is obvious to anyone who looks at the map. The lower Back River Neck Peninsula is attached as a bit of an afterthought by way of the Marlin Avenue Bridge over Cox's Creek, and the district completely ignores the existence of Back River. The Commission's determination to achieve predetermined ends in creating an East Side BIPOC district, proposed District 7, was done at the expense of the clear direction found in the county charter, section 207, which requires that both the Commission's recommendation and the council's adopted plan provide for councilmanic districts that are indeed contiguous and give due regard to current natural, geographic, and community boundaries. The map recommended by the Commission does not meet that standard, and it is for that reason that I ask the Council to not adopt the current recommendation of the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Urbach. Right on the money.
Chair, I just want to say, Mr. Urbach could not attend that commission meeting due to the Citizen of the Year event because he was the Citizen of the Year. Oh, wow. Bravo.
Hard not to be there for that.
Mike, I have a question.
Next
Yeah.
is Mr. Dorsey,
Councilman,
followed by Nick Stewart, who is on virtually.
Thank you.
Councilman Marks has a question.
Mr. Urbach, you were the former president of the, you can just stand, Community College Board of Trustees, correct? Correct. And the Community College Board of Trustees district lines also follow the county council district lines, correct?
Correct, Councilman.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And Councilman, if I could, there is general consensus among the trustees that we will be approaching the General Assembly in terms of the preferred way to address the impact on our particular commission, although I know this impacts many boards and commissions in the county.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Ertel and members of the County Council. My name is Keith Dorsey, and I'm here representing the West Side Map Coalition. The coalition is asking the County Council to adopt a modification in the proposed 2026 Council District map as it pertains to Districts 1 through 4 on the west side of Baltimore County. The current recommendation of the Redistricting Commission not only fails to represent the best interests of the residents of Greater Woodlawn community, but it also fails to comply with established charter guidelines for redistricting. The Baltimore County Charter requires the redistricting process to consider community boundaries. On the west side of Baltimore County, there are 4 easily recognized greater community areas. There is Greater Catonsville, which includes census-designated places of Catonsville, Arbutus, Lansdowne, and Baltimore Highlands. There is Greater Woodlawn with Woodlawn, Lochern, and Milford Mill. There's Greater Randallstown with Randallstown and Owings Mills. And there is Greater Pikesville with Pikesville, Reisterstown, and Chestnut Ridge. The Commission's recommended map abandons any effort to maintain community in order to achieve an uncertain social objective not identified as a redistricting criterion. The Greater Woodlawn area, the only one of the 4 that does not have a designated spokesperson, deserves to have its own council member, a local resident who truly appreciates the challenges, especially the economic challenges facing this community. In the competition for county initiatives, Security Mall, Social Security, and Woodlawn High, which are central to Woodlawn, need their own advocate. In addition, the Windsor Mill neighborhood, initially left out of the county's sustainability plan, would be divided into 3 parts right at the corner of Richwood and Windsor Mill Road under the Commission's map. Along with its failure to meet the charter requirement to consider communities, the Commission's recommendation violates the charter requirement that districts be equal in size. The recommended county map has a deviation between the largest and smallest district for voting age population of 14.13%, far above the 10% guideline. A third violation of the charter is the requirement that the districts be contiguous. The Commission's District 9 Dundalk does not have a land bridge connecting Precinct 1515 with part of the Precinct 1517. A failure to address this requirement would open the door to bizarre combinations in the future. Again, the county council will debate the merits of the commission's recommendation for the east and central parts of the county. The West Side Map Coalition asked the council to reject the commission's flawed recommendation for districts 1 to 4 and instead merge the coalition's proposal into their consideration for the rest of the county. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Ketch, did you have a question?
Yeah, very quickly, Keith, with the map, the Woodlawn map, I guess you noticed that for Lutherville, Timonium, and Cockeysville, it blows it up and distributes it to 3 districts. And, what you said about Catonsville, Greater Catonsville, Greater Reisterstown, et cetera, applies to Lutherville, Timonium, and Cockeysville. And I think that community deserves to be in one councilmatic district. You have to admit that with the ones that you mentioned, that they're all as vital as the other one. And I regret that in the map that Lutherville, Timonium is in essence blown up.
Yeah, in terms of doing the process, as I pointed out to them from the beginning, the Woodlawn map is very flexible. I actually went through like 5 or 6 iterations when I talked to commission members as to what they were looking for. And Mr. Rockwell indicated the desire to maintain the Cockeysville, Timonium, Lutherville area together. I got a map for him of one of the versions that was, I think, over 80% lining up, but he was looking for 100%. Something like that, it gets to the level of where the council now at this point has the ability to do the give and take to get everything together. But in terms of me putting all of the map together, I was given countywide plans. There were perspectives that I was trying to reach from the different commission members as they gave me input. As I said, I went through 5 iterations of it. So you all now have the opportunity to make the decisions around the east and central part of the county. I did not address that, but I'm saying in terms of, I put a recommendation for you in terms of for the west side of the county, and I believe that it's flexible enough to marry into whatever you come up with in terms of the rest of the county.
I appreciate your explanation. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Ketch. Councilman Jones?
Yes, Mr. Dorsey, I guess want to quickly thank you so much for your long service to Baltimore County, having served, over 30 some years?
36.
36 years. Worth flat. And retired as the Director of Budget and Finance.
Yes, sir.
And instead of going off on to the wild yonder and enjoying whatever, you continue to serve the county today by serving on the earlier commission and your participation here tonight and throughout this entire process. So we all owe you a debt of gratitude. We thank you so much for all the hard work and the commitment you have to making Baltimore County better. So thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Sure. Councilman Marks?
Mr. Dorsey, I also want to thank you for your service, and I want to thank you for the energy and thoughtfulness you have put into your proposals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Belcastro?
Next is Mr. Nick Stewart, followed by Engel Burns, who is here in person. Mr. Stewart, you may begin your testimony.
Great, thank you. Good evening. My name is Nick Stewart. I'm the co-founder of the Good Governance Group, We the People, Baltimore County. I speak tonight in my personal capacity. However, I do think I speak for a number of citizens when I say that the Commission's recommended map deserves to be formally introduced as a bill before this council without delay. I believe that this is far better than starting with another compromise bill that reflects more behind the scenes discussions. And this way we can ensure that we are starting with a reasonable map and that any changes to it are discussed out in the open with full transparency and understanding. You know, members of both sides of the aisle asked the Commission to fully study the issue and to take testimony from citizens in each part of our big county and to prepare a single recommended map for consideration, and that's exactly what they did. And it might not be perfect, but we know a couple things. We know it was thorough, and we know it's better than the original map, which doesn't comply with law. And we know it reflects the immense diversity of our county. You know, ultimately maps shouldn't be drawn based on Ds and Rs. They shouldn't be drawn based on just this or that road. They should be drawn to ensure that the people of the county are seen and heard. And nearly half of those people are people of color. And so nearly half of our seats should fairly reflect this diversity and should provide commensurate voting power. I think that this is a good thing. I think it really is. You know, our diversity is our greatest strength. And so we never really should have started with this odyssey like we did. We should have started with an independent third-party consultant that has drawn lines like this before for other governments using GIS technology and so on. And then we could have layered in the politics if we absolutely had to. And so here we sort of started with the politics, but we've got a chance to get it right and to end it right. And that's requiring us to introduce the commission's map. And while I believe the commission's map is itself entitled to an up or down vote, I think we owe them that much based on their good work. If there have to be politics, at least we'll get to use this formal legislative amendment process that we have to do it. And so this will define our future. We know it. I think we've got to get it right. I think we cannot let the perfect be the enemy of what is fair and legal. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Sorry. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker.
Yes, next is Mr. Burns, followed by Linda Dorsey Walker, who is also here in person.
Mr. Burns, how are you?
I am well. Thank you, Mr. Chair, council members, commission members, and all of those gathered here. My name is Pastor Engel Burns. I am pastor of Rising Sun First Baptist Church in Woodlawn. I grew up in Loch Earn, and when people ask me where I'm from as I travel the country, my response is, I'm from Woodlawn. There's a lot of richness in being from Woodlawn and what it means to us as a community. My church is directly sits directly behind Woodlawn Middle. We are an integral part of that community. My father, some of you may be familiar with, was Delegate Emmett Burns, served 20 years in Townsend, and he was elected in 1995, and he was the first Black American elected to statewide office in Baltimore County. He was part of a group of 3 delegates and 1 senator. And we were extremely happy and proud about that. But we really got excited also when in 2001, we had the opportunity to elect Ken Oliver, the first Black council member to this illustrious chamber. Woodlawn means something to us as a community, and we don't want to see it split and divided between Catonsville, Pikesville, and Randallstown, especially Randallstown. If you all know anything about the Woodlawn-Randallstown rivalry, my brother played basketball at Woodlawn and went on to play at University of Maryland and played in the NBA for a year and overseas for many years. My oldest brother played football at Woodlawn, and some of the biggest games and nights of my life that I can remember were going to watching my brothers play against Randallstown, the Rams, and being from Woodlawn means something. I think the problems with the map and splitting Woodlawn can be summed up like this for me. I remember growing up in our neighborhood and there were grocery stores and banks. And they're further and further and farther and farther away from where my mom lives and where my church is and where I grew up. And I don't want to see a councilmatic person from Catonsville, Randallstown, and Pikesville making decisions about what's going to happen in the core of Woodlawn. I know it will be part of the districts, and I know they're going to do a good job and represent all parts of their district, but the Woodlawn voice is a uniform voice, and it is a real neighborhood, and it is something that is important to us as a community. And I ask you to please consider, one, the rules and the charter rules that were lined up that could be compromised by breaking up this community. And I encourage you to please deliberate and consider the possibility of utilizing the Woodlawn map, which maintains that community. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Jones?
Yes. Thank you so much, Pastor Burns. And I want to say that I knew your father very well. And I know that he's always been proud of you, but I'm sure he's extremely proud of you now, watching you take over the church, as well as following his footsteps and being civically engaged in this issue and many, many other issues that I see you and your church participate in. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. Again, you're another person on a national level. You're doing great things, and you could be doing a lot of things other places, but you're here defending the home front. And thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pastor Burns, first, thank you so much for taking such great pride in Woodlawn, and your family we all take pride in. I'm a Woodlawn graduate too.
Yes.
In fact, I grew up in Lockhern, one
Yes.
street away from you, on
Yes.
Forest Garden Avenue.
Yes, sir.
And your family has made us all proud, and I
Thank you.
appreciate the contribution. The one thing I will say, however, this map, the points you bring out to me don't so much relate to where the geography ends up, but what it is really important, however this turns out, the issues that you brought up about grocery stores and about where
Banks.
this county is,
Yeah,
banks.
yeah.
It's really about how we treat our Interbeltway neighborhoods. Our Interbeltway neighborhoods are fragile.
Yes.
And if we start paying attention to everything else, and this is aside from the map or the redistricting, if we start, whoever ends up representing this area, I would just suggest needs to be laser focused on these Interbeltway communities more so than we have in the past. So
I appreciate that comment. Thank
Appreciate
you,
your thoughts
Councilman.
on this.
And thank you for your support over the years.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Ketch.
Yes. Reverend Burns, I first of all want you to know that it was a real honor to serve with your father the 20 years that the both of us were in the state legislature. And something of interest, the office that he occupied was my office before his. And I was in that office for 20 years prior to that. Also, I represented the Woodlawn area in the state legislature from 1975 to 83. And I can tell you that it is a wonderful community. And it was a real honor to serve them in the legislature. And I thank you for your advocacy for this area. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Burns. Thank you, Councilman Ketch. Ms. Belcat, we have Ms.
Linda Dorsey Walker.
Ms. Dorsey
followed
Walker
by
is here, and then
Renee
who's up
Hamidi.
next?
Renee Hamidi.
Renee
Missing person.
Hamidi is up next.
Before I sit down and start speaking, can I have everyone that took the time in the thunderstorm to travel from the Woodlawn, Randallstown area tonight to let these gentlemen know how serious they need to take what you want? Please stand up, please. Please just stand up. They need to see where the voters are. Okay, there are many more people who are online who are listening in, I can tell you right now, from Woodlawn High School, Woodmore Elementary School, Dogwood Elementary School, Featherbed, Powhatan, Woodlawn Middle School. They all have been asking me one question: how does anyone who expects to be county executive expect that we're going to give them their vote from Woodlawn if they don't want to give us a district? So, having said that, let me just start by saying this. My name is Linda Dorsey Walker, and all of you know me. I started 3.5 years ago with a goal in mind. Here's how the goal started. I was visiting Woodlawn one day. Yeah, Woodlawn. And some folks said, gee, we don't always feel included. We're so far down the beltway from where all the rest of the district is. And we feel like, you know, we'd rather have our own say, our own district. I said, well, that's never going to happen so long as these districts stay at 125,000. But if we reduce the size of the districts by adding 4 more districts down to 75,000, maybe we can get you some coverage in this area. Why was it important to me? Well, let's see. In February, Black History Month, I stood at the corner of Dogwood and Rolling Road, and I was looking down at a place that all of you know of, Security Square Mall. I held in my hand a 100-year-old map, and you know what it said? The Dorsey Plantation is what Security Square Mall sits on. So, yes, I feel a little tied to this area because these are my people. My mother has been living in Woodlawn for many, many years. She still lives there. She's 96 years old. And I just want to say that the map that's before us today, as the proposed map, does a disservice. I'm sorry, it wasn't a beautiful thing. It was something that said to these folks, and I sort of heard a tweak of it a little bit in a comment that came when Reverend Burns was here. We know best, and we've decided that we're going to represent you no matter what. These folks want a voice of their own. Woodlawn is the largest, most concentrated Black population in all of Baltimore County, second in the state. It's 75% African American. And while I heard one of the earlier speakers talking about how half the population is now minority, let's get real. Let's not just talk about that figure, but let's be real about the fact that of that 50%, 32 to 40%, not 6%, as in the case of one of those New American groups, not 7%, as in the case of the other New American group or some of the others, 32 to 40% are African Americans. These folks need a voice. I came before you last night, and I spoke about some of the variances and how this map should never have gotten off the table. Number one, it never had scrutiny. Number two, one of the commissioners wasn't even here when it was introduced. Number two, 10 minutes after being introduced, one of the commissioners said, can you tweak it for me? And all of us, it got tweaked, and we didn't even get to see how. Now we see the numbers, and we find out that there's a variance that's not 10%, but 14.2%. The Woodlawn maps variance is only 5%. Dr. Kareem Creighton said that this is a low-risk map. I talked with him. This isn't subject to voting rights challenge. It's compact, it's contiguous, and it's respectful of communities of interest. Please, I'm going to turn the map around so that you can look at it, because I'm not sure that any of you all really got a chance during those 5.5 months to consider what Dr. Creighton saw. And one other person, a gentleman who came from the eastern side of the county. He said he was a mathematician and computer scientist. He dropped he didn't know us, we don't know him. He dropped all these statistics into the AI software and said, draw a map, and guess what his map looks like? His map is almost identical to the Woodlawn map. And so all I'm saying is, I know there have been a lot of people who want 3 by using 3 predominantly African-American districts, by using statistics that aren't allowed to be used in Maryland because we haven't changed our law to adopt those numbers yet. I know that there have been other maps that have been drawn, like the one that's before you now, that should never have gotten off the table because the math was wrong. It's out of proportion. The only one that survived all 5 months and had relatively little change and was considered a strong contender, was recommended those final nights to come to you, and after 10 minutes of one of the commissioners setting her brand new, never seen map before that didn't have numbers that she shared, everyone changed their vote and cut away our safe, low-risk map. I beg of you, respect these people. They want to vote for somebody. Give them the respect that they need to make it you or you or you or one of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dorsey Walker. Councilman Jones.
Yes, first of all, Ms. Walker, I want to thank you so much for your hard work and dedication throughout this process, but for as long as I have known you, you've always been there, very civic-minded, working very hard to bring about positive change, not just in our community, but for all of Baltimore County. So for that, I thank you so much, and I thank you for constantly keeping me up to date on everything that happened throughout this process, including what you described today as a last-minute map without the scrutiny of the community, which I think is extremely important. I mean, that's how we got here in the first place. We want to make sure that we have community participation, and for that, I thank you so much for your leadership, dedication, and commitment, and I want to thank everybody else for being here again. Thank you so much. God bless you. Sure.
Has enough crisis of consciousness without having to have it be part of the redistricting process. So thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Dorsey Walker, hold on 1 second.
Ms. Dorsey Walker, I have not always agreed with you, but I want to thank you for your passion and your advocacy. And I want to add one more point. There was going to be a vote on a map with the 5th District representative not at that meeting, and the vote never occurred. But I didn't think that was fair to him or to my constituents for that vote to suddenly be scheduled. It didn't happen. It was postponed. It should never have, no one should have even thought about happening. Thank you. And you know, I've said these were good people who served in this commission. You can still find faults with the process while complimenting their service and their energy because it was a tough job.
Very tough. Ms. Amidi, how are you tonight?
And our follow-up speaker is Asa Johnson, and I apologize if I mispronounce anyone's name.
Thank you, sir. I'm fabulous. Chairman Ertel, members of the County Council, thanks for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Renee Hamidi, representing Valley's Planning Council. I urge you to unite rural and agricultural communities into fewer councilmanic districts. Rural residents make up a small percentage of the county's population, but steward a large percentage of its land area. They have limited access to resources, are geographically isolated, and are subject to land use concerns not faced by residents in the rest of the county. One of the things that makes Baltimore County so special, proximity of rural, undeveloped land close to populated areas, makes its rural areas vulnerable to development. Residents of the rural area are accustomed to standing together to confront threats like large-scale solar installations and the Maryland Piedmont Reliability Project. Dispersing rural constituents among several districts effectively dilutes their collective voice. This undermines their ability to advocate for policies and resources that would meet their specific needs. Unified representation is vital to addressing the challenges that they face. For decades, the county has prioritized balancing the agricultural and industrial communities. Just look at our flag, which includes both a plow and a cog. That balance is due in no small part to the considerable voice the agricultural community has had in the county. Splitting that community into pieces weakens that voice. Rural residents want their needs to be represented in county council. That will be very hard to achieve when they are split among multiple districts. Please consider reducing the number of districts rural voters are in to unite the rural communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Next is Mr. Johnson, followed by Karen Williams.
How are you, Mr. Johnson?
Pretty good, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks to the council for giving us this time. Thanks for everyone that took the time to come out tonight. My name is Asa Johnson. I am a retired Navy chief, 24 years, United States Navy. I am also a retired federal worker, and I recently moved into the Greenlee community. I, like many of my Greenlee neighbors, moved away from our previous communities for a better situation for ourselves and for our families. Greenlee is a mixed-race community made up of many business owners and working professionals, from corporate to members of the U.S. military, and now we even have mayors. It was modeled after the Maple Lawn community in Howard County. I don't think that our late county executive, whose vision it was to build it, would want to turn it into a minority district. When I discuss this topic with many of my neighbors, they tell me that they do not support this map that splits us up from our newly formed partnerships. Too many of us with school-aged children are concerned about what schools our children will be forced to attend, what resources will now slip just beyond our grasp, and what will happen to our home values if this map is approved. I have attended a few meetings involving the Essex Middle River Civic Council, and we have developed a great partnership between Greenlee and Essex. And we want this to continue. Although Rosedale is, and it may be a great place for its residents, we have very little ties to that community. And that probably won't change either way. So in closing, I would like to say one last time, please, the Greenlee communities does not support this map, and we stand with our county councilman today to say, please, please reconsider carving out our community to force us into a politically planned minority district. I say to everyone on the council, we do not want this. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman
just a
Ketch.
quick question. What is the projected population of Greenlee?
I don't know if anyone knows that.
Okay.
Adam? Adam, throw a number at it. It's getting bigger all the time, let's say that.
Oh, good.
Greenlee is about 800 homes. It's going to be about roughly 1,250 homes.
Right.
That does not include the Roseville Park buildings that are built.
Yeah, okay, great.
Thank you, Ms. Gunter.
Thank you.
What was the answer?
The answer is about 5,000 people
Thank you.
and growing.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
you're welcome.
Appreciate it. And then we have Miss Williams, Karen Williams,
Yes, followed
And-
by Mr. Blitz.
and
Paul
Mr. Blitz
who is here in person.
on deck. How are you, Miss Williams?
I'm great. How are you?
Good to see you tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out in the storm.
Absolutely. So I want to start with a quote. Frederick Douglass once said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will." Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you this evening. My name is Karen L. Williams, and I proudly serve as the president of the Huntington Community Association. But I am speaking to you tonight on behalf of a county resident. And I want to begin with stating clearly that I support the Woodlawn C map. The Woodlawn C map is not simply about racial equity, it's about democratic integrity. It provides rightful representation to Woodlawn, Lockern, Randallstown, and Owens Mills, areas with the highest concentration of African Americans in Baltimore County. But beyond that, it keeps entire communities whole. It reflects how people live, interact, and engage with our government. This map doesn't divide, it defines. It doesn't dilute, it dignifies. It strengthens local voice. It builds trust. It does what good governance does. It aligns representation with reality. It ensures that every community, not just a privileged few, can see themselves in the decisions that shape their lives. The Woodlawn C map uplifts Black communities and also honors others. Just look at Pikesville, a historically Jewish community that remains whole and respected in this configuration. And that's why that's what true equity looks like: fair, thoughtful, and community-centered. By contrast, the alternative maps like the 225 are not grounded in data. They are not driven by fairness, and they do not meet the moment. And let's be honest, this isn't just about redistricting, it's an election year. The county council is expanding lines drawn now will determine who gets to lead and who gets left out. So to those who are counting on the Black vote or the community vote at large, we are listening, we are watching, and we will remember. This isn't about division. It's about alignment with truth, with people, with principles. So I urge the council to do the right thing, not the convenient thing, not the pressured thing, but the principled thing. Support the Woodlawn C map. It's legal, it's data-driven, it's community-built, and it represents the kind of future where everyone is seen and every voice counts. We are here, we are aware, and we will vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Ms. Williams?
Patoka?
Thank you for those remarks, Ms. Williams. And I want to thank you for what you do. You are president of the Huntington Community Association. And since we're talking about geography, so Pastor Burns, you and I grew up near Huntington. It's just down Patterson Avenue. As you go a little bit past Alter Street, it will be the community on your left. But if you go to the Reisterstown Road Plaza, you've gone too far. You are in Baltimore City. But Ms. Williams is just an outstanding leader. And when, you know, the passion that you just, and the words you spoke are very meaningful to me. And I appreciate you taking the time to share those very thoughtful words. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Next is Mr. Paul Blitz, followed
Blitz, how are you?
by Patricia Fallon, who is on virtually.
Patricia Fallon's next on line, right after Mr. Blitz.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the Baltimore County Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Paul Michael Blitz. I'm a lifetime resident of Essex, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I respectfully request that you consider keeping Essex and Middle River as one councilmatic district, which is one of the main reasons given for expanding the council from 7 members to 9 members. The county charter states that natural boundaries, such as bodies of water, should be considered when drawing lines. Essex is a peninsula, which means it is surrounded by water on 3 sides. It goes east to west from Back River to Middle River, and north and south from Stemmers Run to the Chesapeake Bay. I ask that you please consider keeping communities intact. Map 1 is a much better reflection of keeping communities intact. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your brevity.
Thank you, Paul. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Can I ask a question?
Councilman Marks, of course.
Mr. Blitz, you've been active in Essex Middle River for many decades, right?
40 years, Mr. Marks, Councilman Marks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And who's after Ms. Fallon? Do you want to?
Next is Ms. Fallon, followed by Albert Barnes, who is here in person.
Mr. Barnes, Albert Barnes, you're on deck.
Thank you, Chairman Ertel and the Baltimore County Council. I'm Patricia Fallon. I'm representing the Hanover Road Association. I'm the secretary of the association. The Hanover Road Association strongly opposes this final recommendation from the Redistricting Commission. The HRA still supports the fair and balanced map that the council voted on and that the voters voted on in November. But we understand there may be issues, legal or otherwise, and if the council decides to support a map from the Second Redistricting Commission, then the HRA would support Commission Draft Number 1. Commission Draft Number 1 still provides a fair and balanced map, provides a strong voice for the Northern County Rural Agricultural Zone, keeps the Hanover Pike corridor with the rest of the rural agricultural areas and rural conservation zones of northern Baltimore County. It keeps similar and congruous communities together across the county, much like the July 2024 map. It adds a new district on the west and adds a new district on the east side, keeping the county council fair and balanced. The HRA strongly opposes the final map from the commission. It is not fair and balanced. It reduces and minimizes the voice of the residents of the North County Rural Agricultural and Conservation Zones by splitting 4 different areas off into other districts, including moving the Hanover Pike corridor into a new District 2. It enlarges districts on the east and west side at the expense of District 7, reducing and minimizing the voice of those on the east in District 7. Takes away the voice of all of these similar communities, and it has created a very unfair map. The HRA strongly urges the council members to support the map passed by the council in July 2024 or support the Commission Draft Number 1 map and opposes strongly the final commission recommendation. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you, Ms. Fallon.
Mr. Albert Barnes.
Mr. Barnes, or?
I didn't see him come up front. We'll go on to the next speaker, Mr. Jerry Withers, who is here in person, followed by Peter Richkis, who is also here in person.
Mr. Withers here? Or Mr. Barnes?
I guess
We'll
we'll
move
go on
to
to Ms. Richkis,
Ms. Richkis. We know you're here. I can see you.
followed by Ginny Dice, who is also here in person.
We'll come back to the others
Yes.
at some point. Ms. Richkis, you're up. We couldn't find anybody, the others in front of you.
Thank you, Ms. Belcastro. Chairman Ertel, members of the council. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you as you proceed to finalize a map that will define the face of Baltimore County for the next decade. For the record, my name is Peter Richkis. I live in current District 6, and I'm one of the organizers of the Baltimore County Fair Maps Coalition. We've held from the beginning that there are many ways to draw a 9-district map that reflects several basic truths. Baltimore County is now nearly 50% minority. Black, immigrant, and other communities of color are growing, not only in the West, but significantly on the East Side as well. And with smaller districts, as Councilman Jones pointed out, not every preference can be met. Thank you to the staff and the commissioners for making the 2025 redistricting process more open and transparent than ever before. It was at times arduous. A compressed schedule and additional meetings was a challenge, as you knew it would be. Because everyone is adamant about their own community, it's fair to say that some parts of the process have been contentious. But evidence of the underlying good faith, as I choose to see it, is that greater understanding resulted from the many meetings and public hearings, which in turn prompted changes made by all parties. This is what progress looks like. Again, credit to the diligence of the commissioners you selected, and to Mr. Phillips, Mr. Bostwick, Ms. Belcastro, and the other county legal, GIS, and planning department staff that assisted. As reflected in the final commission report, community input drove the process. This is a far cry from the process and the results of the 2021 redistricting commission. So yes, I do believe the council can improve the recommended map in ways that both reflect constituent input and meet the fair representation requirements of the Voting Rights Act, because there is more than one way to draw a fair map. The 2-2 map recommended by the commission does reflect our diversity and complies with the VRA. It also provides a reality-based framework that abandons our past history of packing minority voters into as few districts as possible to dilute their voice. The council has a unique opportunity to create a new trust in our local representative democracy by reflecting all the people. Please consider Baltimore County as a whole as you proceed, in addition to fairness, the law, and the will of the voters. Please adopt a map that reflects the county we are today. You can avoid a legal challenge. No one wants that. Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Jones.
Yes, Ms. Ricketts. Again, we see you all the time. We thank you so much for your participation, your constant presence, and your engagement in making Baltimore County better. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ricketts.
Our next speaker is Jenny Deese, followed by Bishop Barry Chapman, who is also here in person.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Jenny Deese. I live in Essex, Middle River. I live on the water on dead-end roads that seem to dead end all over the place. So I'm going to make my talk very short because I do agree with J.D. Urbach, the first speaker, and I also agree with Paul Blitz, and I am going to push both of their recommendations because we need to keep our communities together. As I live on the water, basically I'm not close to a lot of my neighbors, so the little bit of community that I can get needs to be kept very tightly. And basically just agreeing with them is my push right now. So I thank you for your time and letting me speak, and that's it.
Thank you for coming up tonight, Jenny. Nice to see you.
Hey, Ms. Deese.
Next is Bishop Chapman, followed by Paul Dungara.
Mr. Chapman, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. Good seeing you.
All right, good seeing all of y'all. Good evening, council members. I thought I was not going to be able to make it today due to business prevailing. But when I woke up this morning, I decided that I was going to send a statement into the council. So I'm going to read that to you, and then I'm going to make some other comments. Good day, Baltimore County Council and the redistricting commissioners. It is important to note that keeping communities together is vital to the stability of a community. This makes the community residents work in a cohesive manner to assure a safe and thriving community for our children who will inherit the outcome of any map that is chosen. Keeping Woodlawn out with no representation to specifically serve their interests is wrong. The human interest of all people is to experience life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I urge the council and commissioners to choose the Woodlawn approach. The Woodlawn approach is exceptionally fair, warranted, and just. Taxation without representation is tyranny. Give the people what they want. The only special interest that the council and the redistricting commissioners should consider is the people's best interests. The other comment I would like to add is that you shouldn't even think about leaving Woodlawn out. And the reason why is that, okay, so let's say you choose a map and leave Woodlawn out. all that is going to do is have the Woodlawn community react. They're going to react to being left out. So then we're going to have to go around and get into another battle about that. So if we just give the people what they want and make things fair, you know, we don't have to draw the battle lines to keep this thing going on and on and on. Because they hear, they're going to react, okay? And then they're going to grab some allies. We're going to get to the battle line, whether it's in the courts or whether it's in the community or whether it's at the ballot box. So why we really have to go through all of that? All we need to do is to include Woodlawn with their own representation. It's just fair. And thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Bishop Barry, for your continued service to the community. Thank you so much for showing up.
Councilman Patoka.
Bishop Barry Chapman. Bishop Barry Chapman. I just want to thank you for your style. You look good, man.
Mr. Dungara. Gotta connect them.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Paul Dungara. I'm a District 1 land use activist here to support the Redistricting Commission's proposed map, a position that was shared by 200 similar testimonials from Catonsville neighbors. I must say that I do hope that this will be able to be amended to keep Woodlawn whole, something that's not exclusive of my concerns that I'm going to present this evening. Our tools for promoting equity in Baltimore County are sustainable community districts and our master plan, which identifies development areas to address housing needs, climate change, and the need to build the tax base. Council members need to work with communities to ensure these plans benefit everyone, not just developers. That starts with fair distribution of development responsibilities. Under the original map that the council approved, District 1 would hold 27% of these targeted development areas, more than any district, and more than a single council member can reasonably manage. The recommended map, and Woodlawn Plan C, incidentally, starts to correct this by removing Security Square Mall and places it in a single district. This move begins to empower Woodlawn residents to hold their council member accountable for community-driven redevelopment. It would be nice that if that woodland empowerment can be further enhanced. The original map also carves out vital parts of the Catonsville Sustainable Community District, denser, high-value neighborhoods inside the Beltway and south of Route 40 that generate nearly $4 million per acre in property value assessments. These areas have some of our oldest infrastructure yielding challenges like sewage backups, and they require, like Izzy Patoka had said, focused attention. Keeping them in District 1 enhances their influence to promote better outcomes. But even with these adjustments, District 1 will still carry the largest share of development areas, now 24%, with Districts 2, 3, and 4 also absorbing significant responsibilities. The Commission's map does account for this by assigning these districts smaller than average populations, allowing for better governance. And in contrast, more rural districts with less development responsibilities are given slightly larger populations. District 6 is the exception, but I trust that Councilmember Mike Ertel is up to the task. But let me be clear. Every resident benefits if our master plan is implemented equitably. A balanced map empowers council members to support revitalization while managing growth. And as for concerns about partisan fairness, most legislation almost always passes unanimously, like the $600 million of borrowing that was agreed to in 2024. Disagreements are rarely partisan since our challenges are mainly structural. In fact, the commission's map would make District 1 more competitive, undermining claims of gerrymandering. I urge the council to adopt the commission's recommended map after slight amendment to keep Woodlawn whole. Doing so distributes development responsibilities more fairly, reduces population in high-growth districts, centers Woodlawn's redevelopment areas in one district, and most critically, keeps the Catonsville Sustainable Community District whole, ensuring that residents have the influence to ensure equitable development. On behalf of most residents who share these views, thank you for your time, commitment to build a stronger Baltimore County. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Dungare. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro, is Mr. Pappas.
Yes. Give me one
Online as
second.
well.
Our next speaker is Scott Pappas.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may begin.
Great,
Mr.
great.
Pappas.
Good evening, Mr. Pappas.
I just want to be very brief. For me to introduce myself, my name's Scott Pappas. I'm the president of the Fort Howard Community Association, and I'm speaking somewhat on behalf of the nascent new organization we have down here, the Greater North Point Peninsula Association. I just want to simply say that we disapprove of the current map, and we believe, that we can do better. And we've spoken with our friends across Back River throughout this process. We haven't been isolated. This has not been just a unilateral decision on our part. And I hope that everyone there does the best job they can. And God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pappas.
Our next speaker is Sharonda Hoffman, who is here in person, followed by Mary Taylor, who is on virtually.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Hoffman.
Good evening, Chair Artel and Council. First of all, we all share a love for our county. Thank you all for being here tonight and for hearing from the community. I especially want to thank those of you who have agreed to meet with Mr. Patterson of the NAACP. And I want to publicly thank the commissioners and the county staff for their hard work with the redistricting process. Mr. Patoka, I could tell last night that you're a great dad. With your fatherly advice about leaving the past behind and focusing on solutions. And congratulations on your son's graduation. You're welcome. Mr. Koch, thank you for being open to meet with anyone. One of your constituents is actually one of my labor heroes from my time working in the city, and I've personally advocated for your district in the redistricting process. True leadership means looking at the big picture, not just the neighborhoods you represent. I have experience in working in every area in this county while in state service. Each of you is one of 7 legislators for all of Baltimore County. As the legislative branch of the 3rd largest jurisdiction in Maryland, you are entrusted to uphold the law and make fair, sound decisions for everyone who calls Baltimore County home. There was a comment last night about being in a lawsuit. It appears government officials working in their professional capacity do have certain protections from personal liability. Those protections are not absolute, and actions taken with malice, gross negligence, or violation of constitutional rights can be challenged in court. I also want to say that there was a mention about former county executive cabinets and how he would not want a BIPOC district. Well, I served as on the Women's Commission under county executive cabinets because he did value diversity. And so based upon that, I asked his son how he would feel about what was said. And I just want to say that he did not agree. In fact, Carson Cabinets, his son, he said that his dad actually, he gave up his seat location to create the first minority district. I also want to say, when I worked in the city, and currently I do real estate, And I've lived in Essex since 2004. My home value has not gone down. And I'm glad that everyone's moving over to Middle River. But the reason why I moved to the Middle River Essex area is because it's more affordable than some areas in Owings Mills. So I also looked at the, while we're looking at it, the area median income of Rosedale versus Middle River. And actually Rosedale's area median income is higher than Middle River. So this whole thing that, you know, something is going to lower your value of your home, it's not really true. I just believe that we have to be fair, and maybe everybody doesn't understand. This thing was complicated, and I would urge that the council look at some of the material and training that I actually suggested for the commission, and maybe, you know, you can educate yourselves on what that the federal law supersedes the county law, and there is still a 50% minority presence here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Thank you, Sharon.
Our next speaker is Mary Taylor, followed by Shafiq Hinton, who is here in person. Ms. Taylor, when you're ready, you may begin.
Thank you, Ms. Belcastro. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. For the record, my name is Mary Taylor, and I've been a lifetime member and resident of District 7 in Essex. It's clear to those of us who live on the east side that whoever designed this map relied almost entirely on demographic data to fit a political agenda, rather than any real understanding of our communities. The way Essex has been split, especially what I like to call the so-called the turkey waddle that cracks into Rosedale, is a textbook example of gerrymandering. This kind of cracking divides a strong, diverse community, diluting our voice and weakening our representation. Looking only at population numbers of demographic shifts to draw lines is not the same as respecting our lived experiences or the natural boundaries that define Essex, Middle River, and our neighbors. When maps are drawn to serve political interests instead of communities, the result is districts that fracture neighborhoods, ignore local priorities, and leave residents feeling disconnected from their elected officials. Essex is a vibrant, diverse, and historic community with shared schools, businesses, and local resources. And when we split them between districts that group us with areas like Rosedale or Dundalk, it leaves with Rosedale or Dundalk, communities with different priorities and identities, our ability to advocate effectively for our needs is compromised. Critical issues like infrastructure, environmental concerns, and public needs and safety risks being overlooked, and residents feel disconnected from their representatives. Similarly, Middle River should not be grouped with Perry Hall, another community with very different demographics and concerns. Both Essex and Middle River deserve to be kept whole and grouped together, reflecting the real ties that bind us. These splits are not about fair representation. They're about manipulating lines to serve those who want power. Redistricting should be about fair representation, not arbitrary lines drawn without understanding the lived realities of people that are affected. I urge the council to reject maps that are built on demographic calculations for political gain and listen to the voices of Essex and Middle River residents. Keep our communities united and give us fair, just, and accountable representation we deserve. Thank you for the time and your commitment to fair redistricting process. And I do respectfully ask that the council oppose the recommended map by the redistricting committee. Thank you for your time.
Next,
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Next is Shafiq Hinton, followed
Mr.
by
Hinton, how are you?
Catherine Fanning, who is on virtual.
Good.
Okay, good evening, council members. I want to start tonight by sharing a text message that I received after my last testimony from one of my community leaders. And I quote, "I don't think our community should be in an all-black district. I don't think anyone here, black or white, spent all this money to have no resources." They went on to ask, why should Greenlee be in an all-black district? Let's pause right there. See, that's exactly the kind of false, diversive narrative being pushed by people who should know better, and frankly, by some people in this room. There's no majority black district on the east side. The recommended map creates a BIPOC majority district that's 45% white, 37% black, and nearly 20% other. No group dominates. So let's stop pretending that this map forces anyone to elect some undeserving black candidate. Greenlee is one of the most socially and economically diverse communities in this county, home to every race, with homes that range from 400,000 to 1.4 million. Yet some leaders are pushing embarrassing rhetoric, suggesting that simply being in the same district as Rosedale would lower property values or scare off businesses. That is simply ridiculous. Since 2010, when Greenlee was just a Royal Farms, we shared the district with Rosedale all the way up into January of 2023. This isn't new. No one drew you out. And here's the truth. Resources, yes, they do follow tax revenue. Despite our expensive homes, we are still fighting for basics. A Weis grocery store, a library, schools, fire stations. This map doesn't force anything. It connects Greenlee to a stronger economic base where we can do more than just build parks. It links us to CCBC, MedStar Franklin Square, the Avenue, and White Marsh Mall. Now, if someone believes that Greenlee is strictly Middle River, that's fine. Just say that. I can agree. But even though some of those same people, they fought to rezone Greenlee away from Middle River schools and proudly tell their friends that they live in White Marsh, I mean, that's fine, but don't twist this into some race-baiting scare tactic about drying up resources, because it's not. Now, to this council. Baltimore County is falling behind. Our schools slipping, infrastructure aging, families leaving. We're no longer seen as a top place to raise our kids. Meanwhile, Montgomery, Howard, Frederick, and Anne Arundel counties, they keep thriving. And yes, thriving with the most diverse councils in the state. See, my neighbor, she was right about one thing. Race should not matter in voting, but here in Baltimore County, unfortunately, it still does. Since 1956, every candidate of color who's run for this council has lost, everyone. So either every single candidate of color was unqualified, or race plays a bigger role than we would like to admit. Even Ken Oliver and Julian Jones, the only black council members in county history, only one after Kevin Cabinets, helped create the first and only majority black district. And I'll wrap up. There's 3 of you who want to be the county executive. Show us you can solve difficult problems. Show us you can be a part of the solution and move Baltimore County forward beyond political agendas and allow few telling you who they don't want to be with. Because as Councilman Jones said, you can't all get what you want.
Councilman Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hinton. Appreciate your comments, appreciate your advocacy on the issue. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kate Fanning, who is on virtually, followed by Pamela Ecker, who is also on virtually. Ms. Fanning, you may begin when you're ready.
Good evening,
Okay.
Ms. Fanning.
Hi. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm speaking to you from the community of Boring, and I want to express my opposition to the final districting map number 3 and the isolation of Boring from other rural communities. First, let me take this opportunity to say something I'm happy to put on the record. Boring has nothing but enormous respect and gratitude for Councilman Jones, and will never forget his hard work for and with us in the past. But I think he might agree with me that Boring faced a brutal and bloody fight during the last CZMP process, and that fight was made much more difficult because Boring was isolated from other rural communities. Without a literal handful of dedicated people from my small community, we would have gone silently under the bulldozer of development. Districts should be drawn to enable communities to work together, to spread that work around and to utilize their resources, and for representatives to effectively serve their constituents, avoiding combinations of communities with wildly differing needs. I do not understand how we can realistically expect someone to juggle Liberty Road and Old Hanover Road at the same time. So I strongly object to the placement of Boring at the far-reaching boundary of such an oddly shaped configuration of District 2 that it defies common sense. The final map gives the impression that we were an afterthought, a convenient hunk of population that could be stuck anywhere, somewhere, to make the numbers work. Boring isn't just a hiccup at the edge of Reisterstown. We are a vital rural and agricultural community with meaningful investment in land preservation, and we deserve to be united with other rural communities. This proposal puts an undue burden on my community and hobbles its ability to participate in democracy by making us an orphaned rural pocket. The community of Boring understands the harsh reality of isolation all too well as we face that significant zoning threat. During the last CZMB process, we were hard-pressed to rally support among other citizens of our district at the time or the rest of the county. To put it bluntly, we simply were not and couldn't be the priority of the rest of our district or the rest of northern Baltimore County. We had a hard time making necessary connections. We had a hard time getting emails returned. We stood alone, and we don't want to be condemned to more of that problem. Boring does not want to be isolated from the rest of Baltimore County's rural community for many reasons beyond this map, for all kinds of reasons from 4-H to community fairs and to other resources that agricultural communities share. They are too numerous to mention. True representation comes from boundaries that reflect the lived realities of people and not from political calculations that ignore them. Please do not isolate Boring with this final map. Thank you very much.
Ms. Councilman Jones.
Yes, Ms. Fanning, thank you so much for your kind words, and thank you for your advocacy in protecting Boring. And you said you didn't get much help from others, but you guys did an absolutely wonderful job throughout the process. It was my honor and privilege to represent you and to make sure we keep Boring, the kind of place that you all moved in and expect to stay there for many years to come. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keeping Boring. That's what we learned during the CZMP. Next speaker.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. I'm hoping that I have our next speaker. I believe she called in by phone. It is Pamela Ecker, followed by Sheila Lewis, who is also on virtually. Ms. Ecker?
Thank you. Yes. Hi. I'm another Boringite. And I have to commend my the previous speaker, Katie, who's my sister-in-law, and what an excellent job she did. Good evening, Chair Ertel and councilmen, and a special hello to you, Julian. You know, I'm on your team. So I'm Pam Ecker, president of the Boring Community Association. We represent over 300 community residents in a mix of small town, rural, agricultural needs. We have sent to each of you a detailed email expressing our concerns with the recommended district map number 3 submitted to the council by the Redistricting Commission. The Boring Community Association is aligned with the Hanover Road Association's opposition to the final draft 3. It's as detailed in our letter to you. In deference to repetitive information and your time, I will refrain from reading the letter, but would like to use my public time to express a few philosophical points. Baltimore County residents voted on the referendum last fall. That referendum had a map of the intended redistricting that included the addition of 2 new districts and was approved by the County Council. As you know, that referendum passed. The decision of the council to change the map submitted with the referendum, claiming it was a concept, was not accessible to voters and certainly did nothing to promote voter confidence, but rather set the tone for skepticism. The Boring Community Association supports the original map as the voter's choice, but in an effort to seek compromise, we support draft map number 1 proposed earlier in the process by the commission that had a majority approval of the original map in the referendum if the referendum isn't used. Regarding the commission's map number 3 that was submitted as the final recommended map, the BCA does not support this map. People live where they live. It is not a floating component. Trying to put a square peg in a round hole is what is being recommended. By drawing lines, forcing the disruption of communities instead of allowing the organic movement of the population to form its natural majorities will only build contention. Drawing lines, separating or splintering communities of long-standing history, disrupting their environmental concerns, and weakening their collective voices is paramount to moving backwards. The old adage, two wrongs don't make a right, couldn't be a better description of what the final map recommended by the Commission is doing. The BCA is strongly opposed to the final map proposed. Baltimore County needs to adhere to the values it states in its charter and provide inclusive political representation to everyone and instill fairness and balance in this issue. I recently came across a quote by T.H. White, and I thought it was interesting. The future cannot be built on avenging the past. When any group is treated unfairly, we extend the contentious atmosphere into the next generation. In closing, I urge the Council, with your collective knowledge and your experience governing Baltimore County for many years, to make the right decision by choosing the compromise of draft number 1 map. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Ecker. Councilman Jones.
Yes, Pam, thank you so much for your comments tonight and your advocacy in protecting your community. So thank you so much for all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Belcastro, next speaker.
Next speaker
Ms.
is
Lewis.
Sheila Lewis, followed by Josh Sines, who is also on virtually. Ms. Lewis, you may begin.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening, Ms. Lewis.
I'm here as president of the Villanova Community Association, which is a vibrant community of Pikesville. And I'm here to support the map submitted by the Redistricting Commission for the district where they kept the communities in Pikesville together. Some of the maps that have been presented move these communities into other districts with other focuses, and they just took advantage of the geography, not about the residents. Along Liberty Road, and I'm a longtime advocate, I'm a Pikesville resident, and I do want to make sure that the communities along Liberty Road that are in Pikesville stay in Pikesville, but I'm a longtime advocate for the communities inside the Beltway, even though they were not in Pikesville. My advocacy for these communities was not recent. The history about how these communities came about is also found in the book that was written by Gregory Smith Simon called Liberty Road, and how the concentration of the demographics had nothing to do with drawing lines or anything like that. It was deliberate choice by the Black middle class when they have very few choices in the Baltimore region to seek a better way of living, and they migrated along Liberty Road. The city also recognizes that interest because they have recently started a special coalition to focus on the two arteries, one on the east side and the one they chose on the west side was Liberty Road, to focus on the residential areas, to enhance the communication, to enhance working together for betterment for the residents. For the communities inside the Beltway along Liberty Road, after many, many long years of crying for attention, the county listened, and the Department of Planning created a revitalization plan for the communities along Liberty Road. And that plan is starting to work. We are seeing some fruits of that. We are seeing some environmental equity. We're seeing more economic development. And we are glad that the county took interest and said, the communities inside the Beltway are no longer expendable, and we're just moving them around where someone wants them. But we're going to listen to them, keep them together, and start giving them the service and representation they needed. Now, what the county also recognized that along Ricestown Road, Pikesville also needed attention, and the county's planning department recognized that the Pikesville communities that may be abut Liberty Road should not be just moved somewhere. They should not even be considered in the Liberty Road revitalization plan, that they are considered in the Pikesville revitalization plan where they should be. So that these communities, they're old, they have history, in the Pikesville area where we live. For example, the Canfield AME Church is on the Maryland Historical Register because it's important, significant in history to the Black community. My time is limited, but I want, please, gentlemen, would you please ensure that the communities along Liberty Road stay together so it continue to get strong and focused and keep building on the plans that the county has prepared, and the communities in Pikesville all stay together again so they continue to stay together. These older communities like Pikesville and the communities on Liberty Road need special attention. These communities know how to work together. They have been working together to achieve success. Please consider keeping these communities as it was in the plan so that particularly Villanova and the Pikesville area does stay together and continue to grow. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis, and thank you for all that you do. You've been a long-time president of the Villanova Community Association. You also served on the council structure committee that led to the expansion of the Baltimore County Council. So thanks, Ms. Lewis, for all that you do. And Mr. Chair, I don't know if I'm out of order on this, but I wanted to ask Mr. Dorsey a question or two, if that's okay, since he's the chief author of the map, of the Woodlawn.
While Mr. Dorsey come up, I'll guess, thank you, Ms. Lewis, for all your hard work over the years. Appreciate you looking out for your community. Thank you.
So, Mr. Dorsey, thank you for your hard work on this map. And I just have a couple nuanced questions. Ms. Lewis really brought it to mind. So communities like, where does Villanova fall on the Woodlawn map? Because with Villanova is interesting because it's not all one precinct. It's a couple of precincts that if you combine parts of them, you get what I know as Villanova. And in many cases, Villanova has been divided. I mean, the boundary is Essex Road. And both sides of Essex Road are actually Villanova. But for years, I think Councilman Jones represented one side of Essex Road and I represented the other. Now they're all in District 2. Where does Villanova fall on the Woodlawn map on the most recent?
It would be part of Woodlawn. It extends, that whole area extends over to the Western Maryland Railroad. And so Villanova, as well as those other areas along Lower Liberty Road, is, you know, I grew up in that area too and familiar with it. What's considered all part of, as she said, that development stemming from the city line all the way out to basically Old Court Road. When I was part of the Liberty Road Community Council, that whole area we considered all part of one community.
I just want to throw this out for thought because Villanova seems to be one of the communities. Paul's Crossing is another community. And both Villanova and Paul's Crossing affiliate as being part of Pikesville. And that's just the way communities view themselves. So I'm wondering what, and the other thing too that's interesting, but that is different between Villanova and Lockern. They're close communities, no doubt, but the Gwynns Falls is kind of what is the separator because Canfield Road is on one side of the Gwynns Falls, and then you have on the other side is kind of where Villanova generally picks up. And so what would it do to the configuration? And I know that this is like a balloon. If you squeeze one part, another part pushes out. So it's all, the metrics are connected. In the Woodlawn configuration, in your estimation, if let's say Villanova was carved out into what you have as District 4, and Paul, I haven't heard from Paul's Crossing, but I know the community really well. I know that they affiliate with being more Pikesville than Liberty Road Corridor. And what would it do, in your opinion, if those were pushed into 4, what's known as 4, and then we figured out how to make the numbers work? And thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me some latitude on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was being driven by what is both the census designated place and as well as by the Regional Planning Council. that area is being defined as with the rest of it. But as to your question, as I said earlier, there's flexibility, that's there. And this is what I anticipated, that when you all get your turn, there are going to be individual communities that you're going to have to deal with in terms of tweaking. And I'm saying the strength of the map is it can endure the tweaking and still establish the the basic principle that there be a Woodlawn, a Catonsville, a Randallstown, and a Pikesville. That's the basic part of that West Side plan. So if you need to tweak it and so forth, you got to, do the connection. You need to work with your other council members, but it doesn't destroy the basic concept that's there. And it was anticipated that at this stage, you would need to take in consideration individual communities. That's your understanding of what the community wants.
Well, thank you,
that's always been important.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. I'd love to sit down with you and kind of go through these edge communities because I have a good sense of how folks identify. And so, even though there's census-based places out there, and I'm a nationally certified planner, I keep my credentials up, so I'm very familiar with the subject matter. Even though we have these census-based places, people still, there's nuances in terms of how people identify where they live. And Villanova, and it's funny because in that neck of the woods, a lot of it is your zip code. So there's some people that are in 21207 that affiliate with Pikesville, and same with 21215. In fact, I live in Sudbrook Park, so I live really close off of Milford Mill Road. And when I look at my phone, it says I live in Lockern.
Right.
And I know that I live really close to Lockern, but I don't live in what's Lockern proper. So that's how nuanced that area is. So I'd love to sit down with you.
Even within Villanova, as you describe it, I lived in Woodmore, right across the street, and I know those people who were right on the edge of Liberty Road thought of themselves differently than those who were a little further away. So all of that, as you said, are the nuances that you as a councilman need to take into consideration.
Well, look, I'd love to sit down with you and go through these edge communities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Patoka and Mr. Dorsey. We are back to speakers. I think, looks like Josh Sines is up
Yes,
next.
Mr. Sines, followed by
Tamara
Tamara Gunter, who is here in person.
Ms. Gunter,
Mr. Sines,
you're
you may
on
begin
deck
your
when
testimony when you're ready.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the council. My name is Josh Sines. I'm the president of the Essex Middle River Civic Council. I'm speaking tonight to express our opposition to the Redistricting Commission's proposed map. As currently drawn, the map would once again divide our area into 3 separate council districts. We believe this division weakens our ability to speak with a unified voice and effectively advocate for the needs of Eastern Baltimore County. Our area is truly unique in Baltimore County. We are home to waterfront communities, open space, and farms beyond the Erdel. We have a diverse mix of neighborhoods that together form a distinct identity. But that identity also comes with unique challenges that require focused, consistent representation. Splitting our area across multiple districts threatens to dilute that representation. We need representation that understands the full scope of our community, its strengths, its needs, and its priorities, and who can advocate for us all as a whole. For these reasons, we respectfully urge the council to reject the Redistricting Commission's final map and keep the Essex Middle River area whole, united under one district. Keeping communities intact should be the first goal when considering any map. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Sines.
No, thank you, Mr. Sines.
Next, we have Ms. Gunter, followed by Nelson Brown, who is also here in person.
Hi, how are you? My name is Tamara Gunter. I am the advisory board president for Greenlee. Just want to make sure the city council know that the east side has votes also. And the individuals in the audience who are thinking about running, please make sure you know what the community wants before you tell things that are untrue. So I'm going to go back to what Greenlee wants, what we disagree with the map. We want to be kept with Essex Middle River because we're more in lines, not because of property value, not because of we don't want to be in Rosedale. I used to live in Rosedale. Okay, I moved from Rosedale to Middle River, not very far from each other. But to tell lies and, be untruthful because you're trying to run for office is a problem. So in saying that, I disagree. My disagrees with the map. We did a poll of 354 people in the community on the Facebook page. We had a poll. 100 responded, and all of them do not agree with the map. We asked you respectfully to have the map changed or keep the communities together. We would like to stay with Middle River and Essex because we have more in line with that community. We have established a great relationship. I also serve on the Essex Middle River City Council as a voting member. Again, the relationships we've established is great. I had one speech prepared, and just listening to the attacks and the things that happened after someone spoke is just disheartening because my life was in danger at the first meeting that we had in Essex. I had to have a friend of mine come and accompany me at the next meeting, and my husband, who's in the audience, come in to this meeting because I was attacked, verbally attacked, even from people who are planning on running for office. This is scary. It's really, really, really scary. And my safety was jeopardized. And I have also text messages apologizing for what happened. But I'm not going to show the media those messages because that's not, I have a good heart, and that's not what I want to do. It's about the community. It's about everyone listening to what the community wants, keeping communities together. And as far as the map, this map just came about. No one saw it. We didn't have a chance to even get an intake or input on it. So back to the matter at hand, it's very important that you know that we do not agree with the map. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Gunter, for a very personal story. Thank you for your leadership in the community. Councilman Catch asked about the population of Greenlee. Well, it was zoned for 9,000 houses, and this council passed legislation working with the developer that reduced that by 60%. And even despite that reduced development, yes, we're on the cusp of getting a Weiss Market. Yes, I believe we're close to getting a new library. I believe we're close to getting Middle River Volunteer Fire Company, a new station. And you and your colleagues were a big part of that. Thank you for your partnership.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Councilman Marks.
No, I just want to thank you, Ms. Gunther, for your hard work and your dedication and the time you put into your community. Appreciate it very much. And make sure you tell your father I said hello.
I will. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Gunther, thank you for sharing that story. I think most of us have heard about that unfortunate incident. That shouldn't really happen to anyone. I can tend to get a little heated up here, but
Never.
a little bit. And, it's one thing to get a little heated and passionate about your stance, but it's another thing when you become threatening.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that happened to you. But on a positive note, I've been in office for 11 years, and I've seen the growth of the relationship between Greenlee, the Essex Middle River Civic Council, and then the entire area between Greenlee, Middle River, and Essex, and some of the initiatives that are going on now, and some that are planned, some that the Civic Council themselves have started, community associations have started, Councilman Marks has worked on, I've worked on, and we've seen that relationship develop over the years and become more tight-knit, where you are very active on the Civic Council.
Thank you.
And we've heard testimony from folks from the East Side about their concerns about Greenlee, Middle River, Essex being broken up when it actually is a pretty cohesive and very diverse community. And I'm not quite sure where we go from here, but I can tell you from my standpoint, I'm hearing my folks from the east side, I'm hearing you all loud and clear.
Thank you so
So
much.
I appreciate you coming up tonight.
Thank you.
Councilman Thank you,
Miss-
Councilman.
Ms. Gunter, I just want to thank you for your work with the Essex Middle River Civic Council. You're a very strong voice, and I can tell I've seen you in action. And so keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
you.
all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Gunter. All right.
Our next speaker that was called was Nelson Brown, followed by Bernard Young, who are both here in person or registered in person.
Mr. Brown, how are you tonight? I'm good. How are you? Good.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Councilman. Thank you for having me. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. My name is Nelson Brown. I'm 26 years old. I live in the Kings Park Estates community of Randallstown and the home of District 4. It's home to Hernwood Elementary School, Deer Park Middle Magnet School, and Newtown High School, but it's also, Randallstown is also home to Randallstown Elementary, Randallstown High School, along with many other schools. I am here today because I'm a strong supporter of the Woodlawn Approach Plan C, and I definitely reject every part of the Redistricting Commission's proposal. I feel as though that the Woodlawn Approach Plan C represents the community that I grew up in. Randallstown is a rich community. Randallstown is filled with so much wealth and generations of homeowners, just like Woodlawn, just like Owings Mills, just like all of the majority Black neighborhoods of homeowners, of entrepreneurs, of teachers, and so many people who've paved the way. My question is, for coming from the education space, my work with the NAACP's Randallstown branch currently is focused on education and economic development. So how are the community schools going to be affected by the redistricting process if your plan goes through and when it's finalized? How are the community schools going to be affected by that? How are the services that are going to be allocated accordingly to all of the community schools going to be impacted by the actions that are taken by the Redistricting Commission? How is the representation going to make sure that there's diversity, equity, inclusion amongst the neighborhoods? How are the schools going to look? How are the police precincts going to look? How are we going to make sure that our part of Baltimore County is the place where we want to raise our families and where we want to really build a better future and build a better life? And how are we going to make sure that we're represented adequately? And how are we going to make sure that minorities and women have a chance at the council seat in the future? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Cadoga?
Just two comments. One, Mr. Brown, I want to congratulate you on your recent award by the Randallstown NAACP. I was there and was very happy to see you. And secondly, the one thing we're going to do is we're going to gain 2 more seats. And now we're figuring out like what the geography is. But the other thing that's going to happen in 2026, in the November 2026 election, is public finance will be in place. And so it won't cost as much money to run for office. So I believe that in 2026, it'll be the perfect storm of opportunity for women and people of color to gain elected office, because there's more opportunity. 2 additional seats, public finance in place. These are things that have never happened during the almost 70-year history of Baltimore County. So it's not perfect, but we're at least at this point in time, while we're all here together, moving the needle in the right direction. But I don't have answers to all the other questions that you had.
Okay.
Councilman Cran?
Okay.
Sure.
Mr. Brown, just a couple of things that you said have come up
with some other speakers tonight, and I just want to clarify a couple things as far as I understand them. So you mentioned schools. How would school districts be affected by redistricting? Well, they would not. School districts and councilmanic districts are two totally separate things. So school redistricting, as far as where kids go based on where their neighborhood is, it doesn't matter what councilmanic district you live in. It matters what school district you live in. That's controlled by Baltimore County Public Schools and the school board, not the county council, right? And as far as police precincts go, the population and where our police precincts, where they're located, they are where our population are, where the people are and where they're needed for service. So redistricting wouldn't affect where police precincts go either. And as far as representation goes, what would our representation look like? Well, that's up to the voters to decide once we figure out where these new districts go. So, I mean, I guess my point is when we finally come up with a final map, the thing that is affected is what councilmanic district that a citizen is placed in, and therefore who they get to vote for based on who files to run for office. That's really all that it is. There's not a whole lot more to it than that.
Okay.
All right, I just want to clarify that, and not picking on you, but it has come up tonight with questions about where our kids would go to school based on redistricting. Schools, police have nothing to do with what we're doing tonight. Yeah.
That's a confusing point. Confusing point sometimes as to does that all follow the council district, and those school districts stay the same. As Councilman Crandall said, the Randallstown police precinct isn't going away. You know, it's all the same that it is now. It's just a matter of who will represent you in the future.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Councilman Jones?
No, I guess thank you so much, Mr. Brown. Appreciate you being here. Thanks. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Young. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How you
We
doing
don't
today?
often get a
Mr.
mayor
Chair
here.
and County Council. Thank you all for allowing me this opportunity. Is this on?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, most of you have my letter. Am I correct? Okay. So I'm here to express my concerns regarding the recent adopted map by the commission. I'm disappointed that the map appears to be gerrymandered to create a predominantly black district. As someone who has firsthand experience in winning an election in a predominantly white community, while still having support from both black and white voters, I believe that compacting a district based on racial demographic is counterproductive to our goals. Additionally, I would like to highlight the success of Councilman Marks in representing the needs of the Greenlee community, and I believe it's essential to continue this representation. I have spoken to numerous residents in my area since I've been there, and the majority of them are opposed to the current map for various reasons. Considering the proximity and community ties with Perry Hall and White Marsh, I'm puzzled as to why the area was not aligned together. Instead, our community group with Rosedale, despite the geographical and cultural alignment with our neighboring district. I understand that the ACLU support the adoption of this map, despite their opposition to policy that segregate communities based on racial demographics. I find this contradictory and concerning. In light of these concerns, I respectfully request that the County Council reject this map and create a new one that does not compact individuals into a single district based on racial demographics. And as one who had worked on maps throughout my career on the Baltimore City Council, we tried our best to keep communities together. And I know that this council can do the same thing. This map is a map that I didn't get a chance to really look at. I just moved here in November because my wife is sick, had to move close to my daughter who's helping to take care of my wife. Other than that, I'd still be in Baltimore City. I wouldn't be in here asking you guys to fix this map. This map here is a map that I believe is gerrymandering. The same thing we accused the Republican Party of doing when they was trying to get congressional districts. We're doing the same thing. And that's unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. So I'm asking you to reject this map and go back to the drawing board.
Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank you. I know I've known you for a long time. We've worked together for decades, really, now that I think back. But you left your mark on Baltimore City, and in a very positive way. And you're an icon in Baltimore City. I just want to thank you for your commitment and all the things you've done, because the city is our partner, it's our neighbor, and so the strength of the city is our strength as well. So I just want to thank you for all you've done to add to the strength of Baltimore City.
Okay, and I'm hoping there will be an icon here in Baltimore County. I'm here.
Thank you.
And I will be visible in these meetings.
Thank you. Today's the start of the development of an icon.
And I've registered to vote today.
Okay, I hope I know you are a Democrat.
I missed that 2-year deadline.
Thank you.
I'll say something. Mr. Mayor, thank you for coming, and best wishes to you and your family and your wife, of course. Councilman Patoka spoke about the public financing initiative, the campaign election fund, which passed the council 5-2, and makes elections more competitive. And it seems to me that there are some that might want to take us in the opposite direction. But I just want to talk about that because you're right, Councilman Patoka, that's a very important tool that will be available to candidates in the next election. But most of all, I just want to wish you well, and I want to thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership.
Councilman Jones.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank my colleague, Councilman Marks. You served on that committee. I chaired it for the Fair Election Fund, so appreciate your work. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for coming here today. Once again, you gave tremendous service to the citizens of Baltimore City for many, many years. I've known you. You're a good man, and we are happy to have you here in Baltimore County. And thank you so much for continuing to be civically minded and engaged. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sean McIntosh.
Our next speaker is Sean McIntosh, followed by Kimberly Feldman, who is also on virtually.
Okay.
Yes, good evening, Council Chair Ortel and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight on this critical issue, the future of fair representation in Baltimore County. In December 2024, this council passed a resolution to create an independent redistricting commission. You entrusted 7 members appointed by you with the responsibility of drawing new councilmanic districts in response to our county's growth, changing demographics, and legal obligations under the Fair Voter Representation Act. Those commissioners took that charge seriously. They held public hearings, faced criticism with professionalism, and remained committed to the task. They wrestled with an almost impossible challenge to create 9 fair, legal, and community-focused districts while accounting for complex demographic and legal considerations. Despite that challenge, they delivered. The map they produced reflects the values of equity, public input, and service to all residents of Baltimore County. It may not be perfect and may need some adjustments, but that can be done through a transparent amendment process after a map is introduced for passage. 6 of you co-sponsored the resolution that created this commission. That gave the public the impression that you supported both the process and the outcome, that you would respect the work of the commission you empowered. And yet we are hearing troubling reports that some members of this council may reject the commission's map because it does not guarantee 3 Republican majority districts. Let's be clear, representation should be earned through votes, not engineered through maps. That goes for all votes for everything. As of May 2024, there were over 442,000 active voters in Baltimore County, nearly 306,000 Democrats, and about 137,000 Republicans. Yet Republicans still hold 3 of 7 council seats. Why? because many voters, regardless of party, vote based on values, not party labels. Baltimore County is not bright blue or bright red. It is lavender. It is nuanced, and it deserves a map that reflects that complexity, not one that's manipulated to serve partisan goals. Party politics are eroding trust in government. Historically, Baltimore County has prided itself on bipartisan cooperation and independent thinking. That is something that you as council members have prided yourselves in. It is something worth preserving. And this redistricting process, this moment, is a chance to show that public service still means something. You trusted 7 individuals to listen, to deliberate, and to lead. They did their job. Now it's time for you to do yours. Introduce their map and allow for a transparent process to make amendments. We are one Baltimore County. You were elected to represent both your district and the interests of the county as a whole. Please rise above political pressure, stand with your constituents and our county interests, not just your party. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McIntosh. I think we have Ms. Feldman up next.
Correct. Next is Kimberly Feldman, followed by Jason Glenn, who is here in person.
Mr. Glenn's
Ms. Feldman,
on
you may
deck.
begin.
Good evening. I am a mom and a BCBS teacher from Academy Heights in Catonsville. I am here today to encourage the adoption of the Redistricting Commission's proposed district map, or a map that keeps our community together. The proposed map provides a fair distribution of development responsibilities, reducing the development area burden on District 1 from 27% to 24%. It consolidates key communities for better representation, such as keeping the Woodlawn community together, where I teach, and keeping Academy Heights, Catonsville, and Arbutus unified, along with key parts of the Catonsville Sustainable Community District. It balances the population burden for more effective governance, and it is focused on function rather than partisan lines. I live in Academy Heights, and I have been a part of the Catonsville community for 20 years. I have raised my kids here. They have been a part of Catonsville Rec Soccer, taken dance and taekwondo lessons on Main Street, attended Catonsville Middle School and now Catonsville High School. They played in Catonsville High School Steel Band and watched and performed in the Catonsville Parade, watched the Catonsville fireworks display every year, and eat Opies on the last day of school and the last day of summer every summer. We are part of Catonsville. Separating Academy Heights from Catonsville separates us from our community. Similarly, Arbutus has also been a huge part of our lives. We have worked and gone to camp at UMBC, taken classes there, watched movies at our local theater. That is our community, and we want to maintain that sense of community through our political representation. Therefore, I respectfully urge the council to adopt the Redistricting Commission's final recommended map, which would more equitably allocate developmental responsibilities, reduce populations in districts with larger responsibilities, address Woodlawn resident concerns by placing all 3 of their major development areas in one district, and most importantly, keep the Catonsville Sustainable Community District whole. We, the people of Academy Heights, do life in Catonsville and Arbutus. This is not about partisanship, it's about community. We support the Baltimore County Sustainable Community Designations and Master Plan and believe the proposed map aligns with Baltimore County priorities. Please help us ensure that our representation is reflective of our community commitments and engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Feldman. We appreciate you being here tonight, and we appreciate you teaching in our schools.
Our next speaker is Jason Glenn, followed by Taras Piantazis. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
How are you, sir?
Doing fine. How about you?
Good.
Good evening, Chairman Artell, council members, and my fellow Baltimore County residents. My name is Jason Glenn, a resident of District 2 and also a community leader and advocate as the chairman of the Woodlawn Presidential Council. I come before you today with deep frustration, disappointment, and concern over the deeply flawed product that resulted and unfolded from this redistricting process. Councilman Marks, I agree with you on just one point. This scrutiny is not about the people who served on the commission, but wholly about the product they endorsed and proposed. Let me be clear. I unequivocally support and recommend the Woodlawn approach, also known as the West Side Coalition map, a map that keeps communities together, represent residents fairly, and was developed with transparency and public input. What I cannot support, what I am deeply perplexed and disappointed by, is the commission's recommendation, which was rushed through with no public input, no community engagement, and no available statistical data to justify its decision at the time of its recommendation. To say this map was forced on us is an understatement. It was imposed behind closed doors without the very residents who lives and representation it will directly affect. Worse yet, the commission's map, if adopted, exposes Baltimore County to serious legal vulnerability. It fails to meet the standards of the Voting Rights Act, and it veers dangerously into racial gerrymandering, community cracking, and district packing. It disregards acceptable percentage deviation thresholds, opening the door to litigation that the county should want to avoid, especially after its recent history. Should this issue do end up in the courts due to litigation, council, please inform us. Who will foot the bill for such an issue? Please tell the residents of Baltimore County that it would not be them if this is in fact truth. This is not just about drawing lines. It's about justice, representation, and respect for the people who live in these communities. And yet, the commission's map divides historical neighborhoods like Woodlawn, Gwen Oak, Lockhern, and Woodmore, treating them like chess pieces instead of communities with legacies and voices that matter. Let me say plainly, the commission's map should be discarded entirely. It is unworthy of any serious consideration. It silences voices, it invites lawsuits, and it betrays the spirit of fair representation. I urge this county council to do what the commission failed to do. Listen to the people. Adopt a map that makes sense, that keeps neighborhoods together, that honors those who showed up to testify, and that complies with federal and state redistricting law. This is your chance to do the right thing. Don't let this be another stain on Baltimore County's record. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jason. Thank you so much for being here tonight and your very thoughtful comments. Appreciate it, your advocacy.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn, for what you do. You're active in the Seton Hill community. So this is something that is meaningful to you just for what you do. And I know you work each and every day to try to strengthen your community. So thank you for what you do. Thanks for the comments as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Did you have anything? Sure. Mr. Glenn, thank you. We agree on more than one point. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Terrace Pantazis, followed by Sue Chung Rossmark, who is also here in person.
But Terrace is fine.
My apologies.
Yeah. No, don't worry about it. Not too many people get it right, so that's all right. Pantes, I always joke it's Americanized. When my grandfather came over just before World War II, he couldn't read or write English. So when he goes to the in Ellis Island, they said, write down your last name. He couldn't write it down, so he said it, and American guys just spelled it out as it sounds. And there you go. I want to thank everybody. Thank you, the council, for having this tonight and allowing us to speak. I don't envy you. As Councilman Jones said, not everybody's going to get what they want. I don't envy you because it seems from a lot of the testimony tonight that nobody's getting what they want. You know, I live in Glenarm, and I just want to reiterate what somebody pointed out earlier. The fact that the crest up there shows two guys with a shovel and a fish, and living in Glenarm, I'm going to be in the same district as waterfront communities. I'm a shovel, and you're putting me in with the guys with the fish. It does break up a lot of communities, and I own a service company. I work all through Baltimore County, Baltimore City, and especially Baltimore County, a lot of the rural areas. It's a lot different as you start going out towards the water. I also am involved in the East Side Republican Club. I'm here speaking as an individual, but the reason why I put it on the East Side, I mentioned the East Side Republican Club, is because, I need my glasses, sorry. One thing about being in the Republican Club is that we have a lot of independents who also come to our meetings. Baltimore County is 47% registered either Republican or independent. And as I was sitting at the meeting in, was Perry, down by Perry Hall, the public meeting, I heard a lot of anger and a lot of people talking about different issues, and there's a lot of passion in the room. But then as you start listening to people, you realize, man, there's not much difference. What they're saying, I'm fine with. I think it's great. I believe that everybody should have a word. Everybody should have a say. And when you listen to some of the concerns of the people over on the west side, the east side, and they want to keep their communities together, and they want to talk about racial equality or having certain districts that they feel like they have the right representation, everybody's all about that. So I'm sitting there and I'm sitting at that meeting, I'm thinking to myself, why is everybody so upset? Well, it comes down to politics. I should have brought a big map, I could have blown it up, but I looked at the districts that voted for President Trump, and I overlaid it on top of the map that the commission put forward. And it's amazing. Not only does it give Democrats a supermajority, we could talk about that as gerrymandering, but it's actually like super grouping the voting blocks into single districts, which I'm worried about, because now we're going to have these primary elections that are going to decide who are the council members. Coming from, well, just Maryland in general, but coming from Prince George's County, it was never fair to see primary elections deciding who's representing you. We want the general elections to decide that. And when you have communities, so on paper, all the iterations on average have the same breakup of white voters and black voters, all of them. But when you start grouping the politics together too closely in the different districts, that's when you start getting this one-sided extremist system. And that's what I'm worried about, because you're going to start having, when primaries decide who gets elected, you start having the far fringes for either party getting elected, and some of us in the middle get left out. And I think that's not the trend that we want to go towards. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Sue Chung Rossmark, followed by Carl Medinger, who is on virtually.
Chair,
Yes.
could I just say one thing to Mr. Pantasis? So your observation that we're not very far away, that that many people are saying the same thing, and I think my observation in this meeting is that we're actually talking to each other and we're not talking past each other. And so I think this is one of the meetings where I think we were making some real progress.
And that's what we all like to see. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Sue Chung Rossmark. I am from the waterfront community in Bully's Quarters, Councilman David Marks' district. I actually had wrote down a couple of things, but honestly, so many people before me said it so well, like Josh Stein and many of the leaders in our Bully's Quarters, Middle River area. So what I like to kind of share in my time is I moved into the neighborhood about 14 years ago, and I have lived around the state of Maryland and pretty active in many communities. I have never, ever seen a community like the one that we have currently in Bully's Quarters, Middle River. And I am strongly opposed to MAP 2, which you guys are looking at today. It really divides our community. We are a waterfront community that has unique needs. If you think about Isabel, about all the floods, all of the issues. But the one thing that's really impressed me in my 14 years is that I've seen in every time there's been an issue, we've come together, we've had representation. This current map will take that away from us. It will divide us. And that's something that I strongly urge you not to approve and to oppose this map. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Mark.
Thank you. It is a very special place, isn't it? Thank you.
One last thing then, if I have a minute. When I moved here 14 years ago, my husband promised me that I was moving to paradise. And I can tell you that if you were to divide up our beautiful waterfront, you would be killing paradise. So just think about that when you make your decision. Thank you.
We really do have the best sunsets down there too, don't we?
Our next speaker is Carl Medinger, who is online, followed by Paul Jednorski, who is here in person. Mr. Medinger, you may begin your testimony when you're ready.
Okay. My name is Carl Medinger, and I'm a Catonsville resident since 1974. I'm a former secretary and treasurer of the Academy Heights Civic Association. I want to thank you for letting my voice be heard. I support the work the Redistrict Commission completed, and I'm in favor of the final map proposed by the commission, which proposes all residents south of Baltimore National Pike be in District 1. The original map and the two iterations proposed by the commission do not include all of Catonsville, which I oppose. If the final commission map is not approved as proposed, I would like to ask you to please consider the following when the final decision is made. Baltimore County has borrowing issuance of $600 million, and the Catons community will be separated between those living inside the Beltway and those on the outside of the Beltway, thus limiting Catonsville's voice in future spending or borrowing initiatives. Is that fair? Catonsville has seen its boundaries changed for both federal and state elections, and as a result, our influence where our tax dollars are spent has been limited. The federal situation has been resolved with the last election, but to only be replaced at the county level. I used to live in Academy Heights along with our councilman Pat Young, and if the original plan is approved, then the children of Academy Heights will be represented by one council person for the elementary and middle schools and another for the high school. It has been stated at this meeting that school decisions will not be made by the redistricting process, but if only a small portion of Catonsville is placed in a larger district, will the residents of that school have their voice be heard regarding decisions for funding regarding that school? In conclusion, please include all residents south of Baltimore National Pike in your final decision for District 1 and keep the Catonsville community whole and allow all our community voices to be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Medinger. Any comments? Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Mr. Jednorski, followed by Kathleen Smero, who is also here in person.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
I'm not going to waste your time. Everybody's said what they need to say at a lot of levels. I'll just tell you, I pretty much agree with your first speaker, Mr. Dorsey, and the mayor. I like the principles they espoused. So if you can put those into whatever formulations you have to go forward, I'd certainly appreciate it. And keeping the community together is just so important. And to give you an example of that, in the 40 or 50 years I've been out in Baltimore County and knowledgeable what's going on, we live out on Bird River on a farm out. We're in the northeast. You can't get much more northeast of Baltimore County than there. We're kind of like the boring people on the other side. And as a result of that, there have been times we've been part of Towson and other districts. So the lack of keeping that together resulted in, I have three landfills within 5 minutes and miles of my home. There's not anywhere else. Not keeping the communities together and not keeping strong representation associated with those people results in some adverse effects. For me, every year it's a debate in the family of, is this year we've had enough when we move out? That's not good. Nobody should have that kind of consideration. Keeping the communities together keeps them strong, keeps the families together, keeps everybody together. David Marks, you've been great. Love you. Thank you. You've been a great source of strong leadership over on that side. We didn't always have that. When we were split up in different people with different groups, we were an afterthought. So thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Our next speaker is Kathleen Smero, followed by Carl Rossmark, who is also here in person.
Chairman Ertel and council members, thank you for the opportunity to testify this evening. My name is Kathleen Smiro, and I live in Perry Hall. I ran for state delegate in Legislative District 8 in 2022. I ran on a platform to focus on issues that affected everyone in my district and reach across the aisle. And as we heard Tara say earlier, I think there's a lot more that we have in common than we don't have. And when you sit down and you talk with Democrats, Independents, Republicans, I think there's much more commonality if we just stop yelling at each other. But I am here tonight to voice my opposition to the Commission's recommended map. We've heard many times tonight about keeping communities intact. The proposed map splits already existing communities, and as a result, those communities lose their spirit and goals that once brought them together, such as rural communities and our waterfront communities in Essex and Middle River. Communities will no longer matter in this map. What matters in this map is more gerrymandering. The political process will be hurt by this new map, and some key election races will be decided in the primary. How is that good for democracy and fair representation? I believe our council members work well together regardless of political affiliation, but the proposed map could lead to polarization, and in the end, this hurts all Baltimore County residents. Baltimore County does not need the extremism we see in Annapolis and DC. I respectfully urge the council to reject this proposed map. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Our next speaker is Carl Rossmark, followed by our final speaker this evening, Karen Braithwaite Yarn, who is also here in person.
How are you, Mr. Rossmark?
Pretty good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Council, for giving me an opportunity to speak. My name is Carl Rossmark. I'm pretty much a lifelong resident of Bowie's Quarters, have been. I'm also the one that promised my wife who spoke earlier that I was moving her to Paradise, so you can put a face with a name and all. But I have been down in that waterfront community virtually all my life. I'm a member of the Bowie's Quarters Improvement Association, as well as the Bowie's Quarters Community Association, so I'm a member of both. Not too many people can say that, I think, but anyway. Anyhow, I certainly do not agree with the current map. It definitely has gerrymandering tactics in there. It breaks up the communities of the neighborhoods. If you just go back and look at the communities that would be separated, that are all the waterfront areas, as well as areas outside of the Erdl that have the small farms interwoven, just between like Oliver Beach and Bowie's Quarters that will be separated, that's not a good idea. If you look at, if something were to happen like Isabel that happened years ago, if we were separated, what type of representation would we get? What type of services would we get? That was bad enough the first time, but to have something like that happen in various communities, not just Bowie's Quarters, but other ones, it's not a good idea to separate the communities. So I'm definitely opposed to the latest map. I hope you County Council rejects it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Carl.
Good evening, members of the Baltimore County Council. My name is Karen Braithwaite Yarn. I live in Owings Mills, Maryland, and I endorse the West Side Coalition Map Plan. The commission charged with overseeing the Baltimore County redistricting map process indicated at its May 21st meeting that it would not be accepting any new map submissions. Why did the commission accept the ACLU's latest rendition of a redistricting map? Proponents of the recommended 2-2-5 map were following the lead of the 3-1-5 map, which refers to and uses a racial category called any part black. But that designation which is not used in Maryland, nor is it accepted by the Redistricting Commission. The Commission required that the ACLU and the proponents of the 315 map use the same census data map preparers used in the redistricting map process. The 225 map claim of having 2 majority Black districts is a distortion of the actual voting patterns of the county, and it's likely only 1 Black councilman or woman would be elected. We petition for fairness, gentlemen. I thank you for your time, sincerely, and with much respect for the importance of the decision you will be making in reference to choosing a fair redistricting map. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Councilman Jones.
Yes, Karen, I guess want to thank you so much for being here tonight, all your hard work throughout the years, and thanks for hanging in there tonight to let us know your concerns.
And even though you were last, you're not least.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Well, we thank everyone for attending tonight. I want to thank my fellow council members for their focus and attention on the speakers. And I have to say, just again, it's a typical Baltimore County meeting where everybody has a little piece of the puzzle to add. And it was good to hear from everybody. We have our work cut out for us, and we will figure it out. Councilman Young.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, could you just mention for the folks that are paying attention and for the record where folks can see the map we currently have in front of us? Because obviously from some comments,
yeah,
it looked like some folks were talking about different iterations that aren't in front of us at the moment.
Yes, you're talking about the commission's recommended map?
That we have accepted and we will be working off of as the baseline.
Yes, in fact, if you go to the county council's website, and I'm going to do this right now for everybody's benefit, if you go to the county council's homepage, in that blue ticker that is near the top of the homepage, where there are arrows on each side, there are a number of items on that page. One of which is the councilmanic redistricting report and recommendation. And if one clicks on that, it'll take you to the 2025 Redistricting Commission page. And if you scroll down just a little bit, it says final report and recommendation. And if you click on final report, it takes you right there. And that report includes the map that was adopted by the commission. It also has iterations of the commission earlier maps, as well as the Woodlawn map that has been referenced. So there's a lot of information there for people to review and digest.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Secretary.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Cash.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to say I thank everybody for testifying tonight. I'm very optimistic. After this meeting, I'll tell you, I feel really good about what's going on. And the message that I get loud and clear is that the map that the commission has approved, that we need to take that map and we need to put emphasis on bringing communities together under one council member in each case. And I don't think that's going to be a problem. When Mr. Dorsey was up, he talked about the Woodlawn plan, how the rest of the county, he did look at the rest of the county, but his emphasis was in Woodlawn. And he said the rest of the county, we can take a look at it. We can make the changes without a problem. Remember, communities that work together result in good schools, low crime, and excellent places to live. And I appreciate the message. It was so loud and clear. And anyone who's worried about partisan stresses or whatever, I can assure you, knowing the members of this council, the 3 Republicans and the 4 Democrats, we are more concerned about communities, keeping them together. And when you do that, you're going to have a better result. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Ketch. Councilman Marks?
Thank you to all who participated tonight. Thank you for the decorum you showed. And I think we had a very robust debate. By my count, I counted 25 people clearly against and 8 clearly in favor. But I think we have good ideas here. We have a lot of good ideas in this room, and I think we can work this out. And I just want to thank you for the very civil, very productive way everyone conducted themselves.
Councilman Jones.
I want to join my colleagues in thanking everybody for coming here tonight and testifying. I am truly humbled by so many community leaders that I know and have known for many years, just thinking about all the work that they put in just to make their communities better. So I thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for participating. And like I said before, you know, what's important is that your voice is heard and that we will take it all into consideration, and we'll do our absolute very best to satisfy as many people as we can. So, and keep communities together. So God bless you all. Thank you.
And with that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Be safe going out.